Great job to all the loyal patriots of Ireland who turned out to vote for the Spoil Your Vote campaign on Friday. It was an overall success, a massive success. As you can see here, we have the spoiled ballots analysis. The darker shades denote a larger increase. So obviously around the Midlands and the centre of the country, Athlone, different places like that, even branching out into Dublin City, you have a lot of people spoiling their votes. North Dublin as well, massively spoiled their votes. It was great to see a massive FU to the Irish government with this Spoil Your Vote campaign. Me personally, I wrote Maria Steen on the actual ballot. You could have wrote whatever you wanted, but in total, the amount of spoiled votes were 317,000 people were voted for a withdrawn candidate. Spoiled votes beat the government candidates in a number of constitutions. So actually, if you saw Spoiled Your Vote, it actually beat Catherine Connolly in a lot of different constitutions. Spoiled Your Vote beat Heather Humphreys loads, beat Jim Gavin of course, but it beat Catherine Connolly a lot as well. Don't let the government fool you by this. Okay, this is a setup. We are winning this battle, guys. We are winning the war, and we will win at the end, okay? This country will be taken back by our people, and we're going to fight for it every step of the way. Unfortunately, as much as we want to try and take back the country to the rightful owners and to actually run the country well with a more conservative, right-wing political country, we have Irish cucks like this guy here. These people are self-loathing, self-hating cucks. They absolutely hate the country. They want to just give it away to all these foreigners. They actually love people coming into the country, sexually assaulting our kids. They love foreigners coming in, murdering our children, murdering our kids. Like the kid at City West, the 10-year-old girl who got sexually assaulted by a security guard that was supposed to be deported 8 months ago. They love this kind of thing. This is Thomas Pringle here today that just keeps harping on about the far right this, the right wing this. But in reality, this guy is just a clueless idiot, left-wing Marxist that is trying to destroy the country.
And last question, what do you make of the 11-ish% spoiled vote here in Donegal?
It's quite high, and it's a lot of it was Maria Steen and stuff like that there as well, and it's probably the satisfaction amongst the people with right tendencies right across the county. So in a general election, that figure would be taken up by some of the candidates that would be up here.
But the fact that people felt motivated enough, they felt there wasn't a candidate for them, but did come out 6,000 plus according to the tally so far. I mean, it's significant. It can't be ignored if we really truly believe in democracy.
Oh yeah, it can't be ignored, but that doesn't mean that you pander to their needs and pander to their policies and stuff like that there. What it means is that their policies obviously don't recognise or aren't significant. I mean, obviously they've got a big turnout in the spoil votes here, but it's not significant in the overall scheme of things. And the way to actually defeat the far right and defeat those far right votes and far right votes is actually by putting up a proper candidate who actually will stand up for what it really means for people, and that's the way to do it.
That fat pig obviously hates his country, hates his people. It was an undemocratic election. They blocked out Maria Steen. They wouldn't let her in. They got 18 candidates out of 20 people to vote for her. It was disgusting, guys. If there was a fair election, Maria Steen would have completely destroyed Catherine Connolly.
Really means for people, and that's the way to do it.
I saw you shaking your head, I think, when Thomas Pringle talked of the 6,000 people who spoiled the vote as the far right, and that we can't sort of banny to them or what have you. I don't see those 6,000 people. I see that a lot of those 6,000 people are people in my life who didn't feel they had someone to vote for.
Look, but with regards to the thing, all politics is local, Greg, and the frightening thing that just roars at me from the pages of the tally, there's been over 6,000 spoiled votes in Donegal. That is a quota, or not a quota, but a significant vote that will elect a TD the next time in Donegal. And to say that that's far right, or to say that's not important, a vote, that vote will be very, very important come the next style election in this county. The people, those 6,000 people, didn't choose to vote right or left. They had a choice. And they decided not to vote for Fine Gael, not to vote for Fianna Fáil, or not to vote for the offering of the left.
The smartest thing you could have done in this election was spoil your vote. That was the smartest thing you could have done, because it's the most democratic thing you could have done also. You're choosing that you don't want to play their little game. If they're not going to have proper candidates on the ballot, we don't want to play their game. They had 2 candidates, guys. That's ridiculous for a presidential election. 3, I think, was the max. So 3 was the max with Jim Gavin. You know, at least have 15 candidates for us to choose from, first of all. 15 to 20 candidates. There should be a whole swathe of candidates coming in from far left to far right people. Absolutely, guys. To just call everyone far right, they're scared, guys. You know, this is people that are scared. If you hear somebody talking about the far right, far this, right wing, they're scared because they know they're losing and they're not going to take back their power, guys. We are winning now. The right wing is coming and there's nothing they can do about it. This is how we're represented abroad now. We're represented like this terrorist backing, psychopathic, left-wing ideology that we're pushing to the people. I don't care about what happens in the Middle East, guys. I literally, truly don't care what happens over there. I care about what's happening in Ireland. I couldn't give a shit what's happening in the Middle East, honestly. So great post here from Fella Rights on X. Ireland got 13% invalid votes, put in at the 3rd highest percent of presidential votes in the world's history, behind Peru at 31% and Iran at 13%. We basically got 13%, guys. So we're one of the highest spoil your vote countries in the world now. So the government must understand, you know, when other people are looking in, they can't understand like how the hell we don't have a 3rd candidate. Maria Steen, Nick Delahunty, somebody else should have been on that ballot. And they know well, and the left wing are upset about it, guys. They know well that they wouldn't have won if Maria Steen was on the ballot. No way, no way. You have the communist Marxist man himself, Paul Murphy, of course, speaking up against it. He says the turnout increased. It is the biggest vote ever for a president. This is only because there was only 2 people to choose from. And most normies, most regular people are going to choose one or the other. They're not going to think, hey, I can actually use my brain and vote none of the above. None of the above is the most democratic thing you can do. No vote in confidence in the government. We don't want to have any of these nonsense candidates. We want our own candidates to come in. It was an unfair, undemocratic election. It is the biggest margin of victory ever for a president. Again, there's only 2 candidates. It's so stupid. Like, don't allow them to talk down the scale of this victory for Catherine Connolly and the left. It is genuine, historic. The movement must continue. We are literally the gayest country in the world, guys. And the right wing is winning, though. The right is winning. Be under no illusion, guys. We are winning now. We are the captain now. And you guys can't stand that. The left is going down soon, guys. Micheál Martin and Simon Harris are already considering resigning because of their monumental loss in this presidential election. And I've noticed a lot of gay people in the government now. Roger O'Gorman, Simon Harris, both saying that, oh yeah, there should have been more than 2 candidates on the ballot. Well, they weren't saying that 3 weeks ago. Like, this is the thing, guys. Don't listen to their rhetoric. They're trying to brainwash you guys. Okay, they weren't saying that 2 or 3 weeks ago when there was only 2 candidates because they thought that their candidate would win. Now they're saying, oh yeah, we should have had more candidates just in case Donald Trump and the US are watching. Because the US are watching this saying, this isn't fair. This is not a fair election. What's going on here? Why is there only 2 people on the election? Why wasn't Maria Steen in this ballot? Why weren't other people on this ballot?
Honestly, there's obviously going to be people watching this who did spoil their ballots in a very deliberate way to send a protest message to the government. What is your message to those voters who are watching this now? And also, do you regret in hindsight that there were not more candidates on the ballot? Do you think if you could go back, it would have been better if there were a wider range of options on offer?
So I'm not sure those people who spoke their ballot just sent a message to the government. They certainly did that, but I think they sent their message to all political parties because, of course, they could have voted for the opposition and they chose not to do that as well. So I think it's a message. It's not for me to second guess, but my sense from reading some of their comments was that they wanted to send a message to the political system, to political parties, that they didn't feel represented on the ballot. And I do think it is. I think it is regrettable that there were only 2 active candidates on the ballot. That's not how I saw the election going. Jen?
Absolute hypocrisy. This idiot was saying that it was perfectly fine. He didn't say a peep before he lost. Okay? Because he thought that he was going to win. Now he's switching up. Ridiculous.
You, Andy. I remember talking to lots of people about this. I'm sure I made public comments about this. I thought, if you would have asked me during the summer, I thought there would have been a Sinn Féin candidate, Catherine Connolly, a Fine Gael candidate, a Fianna Fáil candidate, and probably one other candidate, because the numbers were there to either get through the council, regardless of Fine Gael's position, or to get through the Oireachtas. So I think there's a bit of reflection on that. But what I'm more interested in is the fact that people went to a lot of effort yesterday to go out and spoil their vote. I don't say that's not a smart comment. I mean that seriously. People actually decided to get in their car, get in their bicycle, walk to their polling station. They didn't just sit at home, the people who spoiled their vote. And we need to reflect on that too.
Absolute dork, guys. Okay, absolute dork. As the legend Ninja Knight would say, you wouldn't pick him in a 5-a-side. I wouldn't pick that guy to do anything. Okay, nothing. Okay, absolutely nothing. How he's running the country is just beyond bizarre. Stop voting for these idiots. And some idiots out there in Ireland actually voted for that guy. Just complete clown show. And of course, all these people are Masonic demons. Okay, they're run by the Masonry. You can see here the far left president of Ireland signaling to her masters, well done. And yeah, it's all a big game. It's all a big game for these people. Of course, RT, the brainwashing mainstream media, tried to discredit heavily the Spoil Your Vote campaign, and it failed hilariously. We're going to read into this article, guys. This one's absolutely crazy. It says that in some boxes, more than 20% of votes have been spoiled. So places up to like, you know, the Midlands, like, you know, East Dublin, West Dublin, these places that are more based, more rural, got pretty much 20% of the votes were spoiled, which is great to see. Okay, absolutely amazing to see. 1/5 of people said, no, the candidates on this are ridiculous, which, by the way, 20% is massive. That's basically like unbelievable when it comes to voting, right? Crazy stuff. But I just want to show you real quick how the mainstream media has tried to discredit and label everybody in this movement as far-right crazy. It says the group held a campaign launch in recent weeks at which it listed 8 campaign leaders. Importantly, each had either a large following online or seen as influential in conservative, anti-establishment, anti-immigration or right-wing circles. Of course, right off the bat, they're trying to discredit people on the right. Everybody that's on the right are based. Everybody that's not on the right are just little bitches, guys, to be perfectly honest. If you guys can't see what's happening in Ireland in 2025, you're just an airhead. Like, you're literally an airhead. You don't know what's going on. You have no internal dialogue, no thought process. So here they give us a list of people that helped push the movement. Now, I helped push the movement also. I have nearly 140,000 subscribers on YouTube. I get 1 million long-form views per month on my YouTube. But they didn't mention me in this article. They would never mention me because I'm too crazy, guys. I'm too far right. Like, they actually would not want to mention me because, just be known, I'm saying this right now, if you guys ever see the mainstream media do an article about me, oh man, they are finished. That's when you know the mainstream media in Ireland is finished, guys, for good. So the first person that they say on this is Elaine Mullally, a businesswoman from County Laois. She founded a party, the Independent Ireland, but left the party in 2024, saying it no longer aligned with her values and principles. She ran unsuccessfully as an independent candidate in last year's general election. Mrs. Mullally, who spoke publicly on behalf of the campaign, positioned Spoil Your Vote as a protest against what she sees as a lack of real political choice. Of course it is. Everybody can see that. Completely correct. On social media, she criticized both main presidential contenders as not representing ordinary people, writing that one represents everything that is wrong with this country, while the other is woke, backed by all left-leaning parties and Sinn Féin. Absolutely, guys. Catherine Conway is a communist, and she's woke, and they're all left-wing psychos that want to see the destruction of the country. Foreigners in, Irish out. Her posts online often focus on themes of gender, free speech and government accountability, echoing the anti-establishment tone that runs throughout the campaign. Mrs. Mullally previously helped to launch the Irish branch of Children's Health Defence, an organization founded by the US Secretary of Health, Robert F. Kennedy. Oh, that's epic. That's epic. That has campaigned against other public health programs. Yeah, sure it is. Dude, that's legendary. I didn't know that about Elaine Mullally. That's class. I love Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's a legend. Big hero of mine. He's actually a big hero of mine because he's jacked. You know, he's in shape as well. And he flipping runs the government now with Trump. It's just, that dude's a legend. Next, we have the legend Eddie Hobbs. We love Eddie Hobbs on this channel. County Gains. Over here at County Gains, guys. We love Eddie Hobbs. He's a flipping legend. I used to watch all his TV shows back when I was a kid with my family. Sitting on the couch, I was like, man, this guy's a legend. Eddie Hobbs could really help the government with all their crazy spending. It would be great to see him actually get into power and cut the spending of these NGOs in Ireland. Because right now there's like 40,000 NGOs and they're completely destroying the country with their left-wing woke agendas. A vocal critic of Ireland's response to the lockdowns, Mr. Hobbs now presents a podcast and YouTube show where recent episodes have focused on themes of media trust, political corruption, and perceived threats to free speech. At least 5 of his fellow Spoil the Vote campaign leaders have appeared on his channels. Mr. Hobbs described the campaign as an act of defiance and rebuke to the government. Absolutely. Much love to all these loyal patriots. These are great people. The next guy here, Paul Treyviard. I don't know how to say his last name. I've seen him before, but he's a chef, basically. Never heard of him before until recently, but runs a YouTube channel. Kind of the same thing as Eddie Hobbs, kind of doing that kind of thing, but great guy. Since the lockdowns, he's used his online platforms to question government policy and media rundown narratives on issues ranging from public health to the impact of immigration on tourism, aligning himself with the anti-establishment centre underpinning Spoil the Vote campaign. Great guy. These people are all people after my own heart. Maybe they're not as radical as me, but They're all people after my own heart, guys. This is great. This is great to see. Because I never knew the background of a lot of these people as well. So Aidan Joyce, never heard of this guy either, but he runs the Spoil Your Vote campaign. But notice how with these people, they're always trying to... But notice with these people, the mainstream media is trying to just lie to the public. They're pumping out these articles to try and discredit the right wing, and they're crazy. When in reality, I'm over here pushing them to the max. And we're getting crazy views, guys. So how can you compete with that, RT, you scumbags? So we got another guy, Aidan Joyce. Of course, we have Declan Ganley, who helped kind of push it as well. Absolute legend. Nick Delahanty as well. Like, look at Nick Delahanty, who ran for presidency, guys. They say instantly in this article, he doesn't believe in having a multi-ethnic society. He doesn't believe in multiculturalism. Of course, guys, multiculturalism, this melting shit pot that they've had us to believe, is not good for society. Like, who told you that, guys? That is not a good thing, bro. That's like some, you know, communist, Marxist, college type of ideology. The 35-year-old Tipperary man who runs a dog daycare business, that's great. I love that. I love dogs. Has built up a following on X where he posts videos critical of public spending on the iPass centres and calls them an asylum scam. That's what I do as well. There's no such thing as refugees. I mean, it's bullshit, guys. There shouldn't be any refugees here. No iPass people here. Absolutely not. We got to shut down all the iPass centres, 100%. So we got Ivor Cummings here, who is a former biochemical engineer, which is great to see. I love that, health and fitness. He began writing about chronic health like cardiovascular disease, obesity, and diabetes. Amazing. Low-carb diets to combat them. I love that. And he has over 262,000 subs on YouTube. Holy hell, I didn't even know who this guy was. He criticized the lockdowns, of course, everybody did, right? And then lastly, we have Michael McCarthy here with almost 150,000 followers on X and a sizable following on Instagram. Michael McCarthy is a content creator who regularly makes videos critical of immigration and the international protection system. But hold on a second. Look at the way he says they have a sizable following on Instagram. He has nearly like 800,000 followers on Instagram. They're trying to downplay that. It's ridiculous. He supports ethno-nationalism, which is the idea of a nationality defined by a single ethnicity. I mean, most countries in the world outside of Europe and North America are like that, guys. Like all of Latin America, all of Africa, all of the Middle East is like that as well. So 2 weeks before the Spoil Your Vote launch, he commented on Labour Party Miss Muhammad, who was born in Birmingham to Pakistani parents, saying, she said, ethno-nationalism struggles to accept the fact that someone who looks like me or has a face like mine can truly be English or British. And then Mr. McCarthy commented, because you're not. Oh, that's legendary. That's funny. In many videos, he raises questions about the state's approach to migration, Basically, just another influencer on the internet, right? Another guy who pushes back against the woke mainstream media. Much love to all these people. They're all absolutely amazing. Keep pushing the good message. And to me, it seems crazy how a lot of Irish people, our own people, can't see this, but people from the US can. Let's listen to this guy talk about how Irish liberals are insane.
So funny to me that the same people who post kneecap edits and talk about get the Brits out are the same ones who want to bring in like 10 gabillion Africans. Me personally, I like the whole Irish sovereignty thing because it's a sovereignty movement. Historically, the Irish wanted an Ireland that was for, of, and arbitrated by the Irish. Literally, what was the point of any of their conflicts with England and their neighbors and the world stage if it all goes away? Do you think like the early 20th century like IRA guys that they were fighting so that Muhammad and Ooga Booga could take over Ireland? And I've met Irish people from Ireland who think like this, who say, oh, well, the English in the North, they'll never be Irish. But then a Somali gets his passport and they go, oh, well, he's as Irish as me.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, right? It's just, bro, these people that say that shit are just like cucks, bro. They're just losers, bro. They don't actually have a backbone to even speak up and say the truth, right?
This is a point that needs to be harped on. All of our historic conflicts, all the things that we went through will be worth nothing if we just give it away.
Facts. Absolutely facts. That's great for that guy. I don't even know who the hell that is, but yeah, this far left, crazy woke nature that's still affecting Ireland has to be. Hope you guys enjoyed that video, man. If you want to support me, hit the join link underneath the video. Become a member for just €3 per month to help push back against the woke mainstream media, the woke Irish government, and everybody in between. I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Peace.